This is Papa Smurf. You're listening to Our Lifestyle, the podcast, with ODB and the Mayor.
Hey, it's Jason, ODB, and we want to thank our title sponsor, Custom Car Show Productions. They have 3 events. Bayou Showdown just went down last weekend. That's every November. Their next event, in conjunction with Keg Media, is Orange Beach Invasion. We hope to see you out in Alabama March 2023 for Orange Beach Invasion at the Wharf. And then their flagship event, the 21st anniversary of Scraping the Coast, will be June of 2023 in Biloxi. More information can be found on Facebook. And we will be talking about these shows as we get closer. Stay tuned a little bit later in this episode for a lucrative discount code for our Black Friday specials officially at ourlifestylepodcast.com. This is our biggest sale ever. Stay tuned. Happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you guys had a good one. Enjoy the episode. Keith Rock's house.
Yeah, the Rockster, rocking out with my cock out, man. There's gonna be a bunch of there, so I think it might be a tag team Hell in the Cell title match there at Eastbound Get Down.
Well, I told Dizzy, I said, dude, I got an idea. You get some fucking kerosene. Let me dunk one, okay? Someone will let's light it with a ciggy, right? And then we'll have the flaming deals. And if Mike is standing up there, I said, I guarantee I'll hit that fucking apple, dude. I'll hit something up there. Yo, it's Our Lifestyle Podcast, OLP, episode 316, I believe. And we're back in the saddle. Last week, the boys were back in town. This week, it's Happy Thanksgiving. Mike, if you're there, if you can hear me, Happy Thanksgiving. I mean, Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving?
It's actually Happy Friendsgiving, okay? Because that's what we call it at the Murray Mansion. Because we have 30 of our closest friends, and I guess we can call them family members over in the Murray Mansion, and we celebrate Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving, okay. Yeah, because my buddy, Hank Norris, he says Happy Thanksgiving because he said that's what they do over at Hammered.
I know all about the Hankster, believe me. Spent a lot of time with that guy.
Dude is an animal. This episode is going to be a little bit different. Mike, we're going to keep it the L word. We're going to keep it loose this episode, I think, because, it's Thanksgiving. That's when we celebrate, the Native Americans that helped feed the illegal aliens, several hundred years ago, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All the illegals that came here, on those, what were those ships called? The Maria or something?
The Pilgrims.
Yeah.
The Pilgrims.
Yeah.
Hey, you think they deep-fried turkeys back then?
Dude, they did a lot of stuff, man. They didn't have the luxuries that we had, but they did help feed those illegal, what do you call them? The UFO people that come in from other country or planets?
I believe they're called aliens.
Aliens, okay. I thought those were in Men in Black only, like the aliens that you can't really, But enough of that. We're burying ourselves.
I don't know.
Already,
they zapped me. They put that red light in front of my face and zapped me, and I don't remember anything. So I don't know.
I bet they did. So if you're a new listener, hit subscribe or follow. If you're on YouTube, continue listening through. It helps us out. If you are also on YouTube and you want to find us through any other channel, look up, any pre-installed podcast app on your phone or download Podbean. Mike, with this episode, what's going to be kind of cool is we're going to have on Tim, who worked at the Drop Shop with Jody Hall, but also the big homie DP. You know DP. I saw something the other day, dude. He has a truck called the Outlaw.
Wait a minute.
Your
first you said we're going to get loose. Then you bust out with DP.
Right,
and
Darrell.
The only DP I know.
No, come on. Let's not go there, man. It's not the This is Happy Thanksgiving, and we're not talking about the filthy stuff that's always on your mind.
Dude, the Outlaw. Absolutely. I know all about the Outlaw. Darrell Poe, Mrs. Poe. Bro, you know where the next time you're probably going to see Darrell? Hey, Darrell. And Mrs. Poe?
At SEMA next year? Because I'm not going to any shows next year.
Before SEMA next year, I know ODB is going to be there. It's going to be Eastbound Get Down, January 13th through the 15th, 2023, Martin Luther King weekend. Remember, guys, you don't have to go to work on Monday. Most of you don't have to go to work on Monday, so you don't have to hurry up and haul ass back wherever you came from. Destination Daytona, Ormond Beach, Florida.
Let me see. Is that the AFC? No, that's not the championship. That'll be the divisional round weekend, I think.
No, Bubba, I told you it's a week earlier this year, so you don't have to worry. Your Packers aren't going to be in it anyway, so you don't have to worry about it.
You want me to wrestle you to the ground?
Bro, hey, you know what? Talking about wrestling, man, if all this shit talking keeps going on this other podcast, the Custom Scene podcast, maybe we can arrange a wrestling match at Eastbound Get Down. What do you think? The Friday pre-party? Oh, dude, that would be awesome.
I don't think John Lopez.
Right there.
I don't think he's going to let you up the insurance policy to the 10 mil you're going to need. Because if I throw someone off the ropes and they land on a yellow Mazda, Banana Razam and his hammock, it could crush the whole freaking cab, dude.
Bro, check this out, bro. This yellow Mazda you're referring to, my boy Mike Warren took care of my hood for me. Jason Wees hooked me up with a hood. Mike Warren painted it all up. I just got to get it installed now. So I got a new hood. So I just got to get it all installed and taken care of. So hopefully that'll be going down here real soon.
Well, remember with our agreement and kind of letting you back on the podcast, I don't want to, give away, like I said, keep giving you all these ideas, but I have hinted to Craig Frazier, and he said for Mike to text him, he would potentially lace it up with some Air Syndicate, and help you. But I know you don't like when I give you all those ideas, so, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, just leave it at that. No, definitely. Because, dude, who needs Craig Frazier? Who needs Craig Frazier?
Don't be talking shit now, dog. He'll wrestle you to the ground.
No, not talking shit, bro. Bro, when you can, dude, I got this new finger paint video, and I'm gonna learn how to do it myself, bro. So graphics for Don Postal, it's gonna be all graphicked up at Eastbound Get Down. Get ready, it's gonna be awesome. Can't wait.
Well, I just looked officially the weekend of the 14th and the 15th. That is the wild card weekend, the wild card round. You got the 4:30 games.
It's the first weekend. It's the first weekend of the playoffs. Yeah. And guys, we got 2 different restaurants there on property. There's a nice sports bar on property that you can go and watch the game. So don't worry, you're not going to miss anything. Guys, just come on out to Eastbound Get Down, January 13th through the 15th. Pre-registration ends December 1st, which is next week. I don't remember the day, but it's next week sometime. And right now, we just dropped the artwork for Eastbound Get Down, and DP, Darrell Poe, the Outlaw, is on one of them. And with Elvis's truck is on there. Guys, it came out awesome. Graphic Disorder always kills it. So thanks, Jay. I appreciate you letting me do my little spiel there. So, guys, make sure you check out Eastbound Get Down.
Well, per our new agreement, you've got your one opportunity, kind of like Eminem. You got one shot, and you got it. So, then
thank you, sir.
Any other mentions of that EBGD show will have to be, bleeped out the rest of the episode. You'll sound like another lunatic.
10-4. So, hey, Jay, make sure you go and you pre-order your shirts before the pre-read. Next Monday, the pre-order ends.
Well, give me the 100% off code, because remember, that's part of, the demands. I need to have a 60-inch TV set up, with all access, all the channels, none of them scrambled,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Basically what I do is our hotel room is right there. Right above, you can go up to the hotel room and boom, your 60-inch TV will be.
You said you were going to run the there. Coax down, though, I thought.
No, I found out that's not possible, so I'm not going to be able to do that.
Well, dude, check this out. The cool thing is, like I said on this episode, we got Tim. He worked at the drop shop. So originally this was going to...
Tim the Tool Man?
No, that's not Tim the Tool Man, but he's a good dude. And originally it was going to be back-to-back with Brian Gendro. So think about this. Gendro had the chop shop. Jody Hall on the kind of the east side, right, up in the LMC and LCD podcast area in Kentucky, Pikeville. Of course, a little stone's throw for them. That was the drop shop. They body dropped a lot of trucks, and it's pretty cool that Darrell Poe linked us up with the big homie, Tim Williams, and we'll have that shortly coming up for everyone, Mike.
Hell yeah, dude. Last week's interview was like, when you rated on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 10. So let's hope Tim the Toolman can come through and deliver another 10 back to back, baby.
Boom, boom. Dude, the ratings are on the rise. The other thing that I wanted to mention, Mike, we typically this week we do a Black Friday, an annual episode where we kind of talk about Black Friday. And I think everybody knows Black Friday is going to be off the hook. You're going to be able to potentially save money, whether you're doing gift shopping, parts buying, and whatnot. But Mike, from everything that I can see, our Black Friday. So if you're listening to this on day one, so some of you guys like Tim from NC Florida, the overnight full trucker effect deal, those guys will be able to potentially, if you're listening day one, go and use the Black Friday code for OLP. Mike, it's the first time I think it's going to be our biggest blowout ever. You like big blowouts, don't you?
Well, it depends, because I've had quite a few of them, and some are better than others.
Like tires and stuff, right?
Oh, my bad. I wasn't talking about tires, but all right. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with tires.
Yeah, so I'm going in there right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the discount code as OLP. This is how much planning we've been doing, guys. It's going to be, Mike, what's the percentage we're going to do again for everybody? This is shirts, stickers, dude, skate decks, Joey's come up big. We'll talk about that. But what's the percentage we're going to do?
Well, considering that Black Friday is on, what's the date that Black Friday's on?
Well, Black Friday is the 25th, right?
So, you know what we're going to do?
I think I do.
We're going to give them 25% off.
Yep. And we are going to post, it's going to be for Thursday, and it's going to be for Friday as well. So obviously if you're listening and you haven't been able to pay attention for whatever reason to social media, then you'll see, you'll potentially hear this on Friday morning, and then you'll get in and you'll be able to use that code. So for the 24th and the 25th, let me go ahead and save this. Make sure I haven't used this code before. The code is going to be BF 2022. So BF 2022. And that's going to be 25% off, dude.
Well, hey, not only are they going to get 25% off, but why supplies last,
they're going to get the West Coast Influence, the DVD
thrown in.
Yeah, for free. Now, we do have limited quantities on those, and those are going to be for any orders $50 or more. So we will, again, I think they're going to run out pretty quick. So if you're listening to this, or if you pay attention to us on social media, and let's say Thursday you get in and you use the code, and you end up spending $50 or more after the code, right? So if you spend $100 and you get $25 off, that's going to be $75. That's above $50. Mike and Shannon will throw in one of the West Coast Influence DVDs, and that's while supplies last, Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't recall how many we had, but like you said, they are limited. I know that for sure.
Now, the other thing from a Black Friday perspective is we know some of our partners, right, like AccuAir, they traditionally will have a pretty lucrative Black Friday deal. I know even last year, leading up to it, my understanding was they weren't going to do BF last year, and they did. So, a lot of people keep stuff close to the vest because of competition reasons, obviously maybe looking to get, in the cellular industry, we call them switchers, looking to get maybe someone to come over from a different brand and whatnot. But rest assured, if you're in the market, Mike, for air management, AccuAir, as we've always said, not only are they out there supporting the scene, they were at Dino's Get Down, they'll be at EBGD, they'll be at Lone Star Throwdown, they'll be at all these different shows, but AccuAir.com, you can order it, and Mike, it's directly shipped right to your home address.
Hell yeah.
Now, the other thing that I've noticed recently is they have continued to make their website even easier. So when you go under management and control systems, you'll see the EC or the E Plus Connect height sensors, pressure sensors, touchpad. The cool thing is, Mike, they've got the market cornered, and I love seeing that.
Yes, they do a fantastic job as far as that goes. And, hey, I only see bigger and better things coming forward.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of Dino's Get Down, I was on YouTube today kind of catching up. We haven't talked enough about Garage Gear's YouTube channel, Garage Gear Clothing. Follow them on YouTube. Pick up some merch while you're at it on their website. But, Mike, they were at Dino's, and it was crazy to see how big. We talked to Ruben about that a little bit, but it's always good to see Lonnie out there with the camera, recording, doing some fun videos. I know Brian from Grinder TV made an appearance in the video as well. So, go out there and stream those episodes right through YouTube.
Well, hey, like I said, we got to make Lonnie some damn money, so make sure you watch it from the beginning all the way to the end. Yeah,
real deal. Now, the other thing that I would tell you guys, and I've said this in the past, if you're looking to save money on Black Friday, sign up for, add your email to these different websites. So if you're looking for, white wall tires, you're looking for wheels, you're looking for something, it's best to be on their distribution list for all these companies, whether they're partnering with us or not. And then pay attention to your email leading up. A lot of folks, Mike, as you know, with Amazon and some of these companies doing things where Black Friday is kind of like stretched over weeks and months and whatnot, they're looking to, get people out of stores and that old school lining up at midnight. All that stuff's kind of, for the most part, gone because these stores are doing these deep discounts online. And typically, if it's free shipping, that's great. And then oftentimes you get no tax, depending on where you're buying stuff, if you're buying big electronics and things like that. But there's plenty of ways out there for Black Friday to save, right?
Absolutely. And the one thing that we didn't mention when we talked about Garage Gear is, hey, how much are they paying for that shipping with Garage Gear?
Dude, it's free $99. That's $0 in the good old US of A. And if you're looking for holiday gifts, Mike, that's a great way to save.
Absolutely. That just means you can buy more.
Speaking of questions, Mike, I got one question for you. Are you ready?
Now it's time to get serious.
I'm always ready, brother.
Dude, I know the Airhead Nation and all the kinfolk and everybody listening is going to say, hey, this is an easy one. But I'm gonna throw it out there anyways because, I'm trying to keep things light. I think some of them maybe are a little bit, too far down the rabbit hole. But this one of my favorite movies of all time, stars Macaulay. How do you say his last name? Culkin?
He's the kid in Home Alone. How about that?
Yeah, one of my favorite movies is Home Alone. And what are the name of the two crooks, okay, in the movie Home Alone, right? On top of that, the bonus for the extra tick mark would be what was their kind of their name that they came up with in the first movie. So they kind of called themselves something at some point during the movie. That was their moniker for their little scheme they were running. You know what I mean? Breaking in houses and stuff. But
well, hey, listen. I'm gonna cut you short because let's get right to it. I want to say Wayne was one of them. I don't remember their names, but they were the Wet Bandits. Yeah, I remember that.
So you get 50% of it. Ding, 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 ding. Dude, it was Marv and Harry.
I remember the Wet Bandits, but I do not remember their actual names.
Do you remember in part 2 when they were in New York, he happened to make a kind of a kidding joke about what they were going to call themselves when he stuck his hand into the Salvation Army thing? It wasn't the Wet Bandits. That was the Sticky Bandits, dude.
The Sticky Bandits.
We would have maybe given you another tick mark. But hey, dude, you got part of it. The Wet Bandits. Remember, I mean, what kind of lunatics they just turned on? They were going to turn on the sink. But you can't deny it is a funny, good holiday movie. And I think what adds to it, John Williams, who did, Jurassic Park and, Jaws and Star Wars, that score they call it, that holiday music, the score to the movie is just fantastic. It just adds to the ambiance of the holidays, doesn't it?
Oh, dude, I watch that movie every year during the holiday season. Yep. Love that movie. What he put those guys through is absolutely classic. I love it.
It's hard not to laugh, even if you've seen it 100 times, dude. Because
no matter, bro. It's endless laughter, my man. Endless.
I'm thinking when he's in the basement and he's climbing the stairs and he puts his foot, and it's probably a fake nail. We get that, but it looks so damn real. It's hard not to laugh your ass off.
Bro, and then he starts coming back up the stairs, and he looks up, and that fucking paint can comes down, smacks him right. Oh, dude, he's back down to the bottom again, bro. I mean, he touches the knob, and the fucking hand, it burns his hand.
Yeah.
Walks up the stairs, he slips off the stairs from the ice. Bro, it is just endless, bro. It is absolutely endless. It's freaking awesome. I love it. I love it.
a few years ago, Kevin McAllister redid his role. He did, for you guys that have never seen it, go on Google, and he basically, they did a commercial for Google, and he's jumping on the bed and all that stuff. It was kind of an updated version, and it was kind of cool because, they'll sometimes do those nostalgic type things for commercials. We saw that with E.T. a couple years ago too, so that was kind of cool. But, Mike, keeping this episode loose this week, I wanted, you had shared something with me recently that I was kind of offended because I felt like, our friendship all these years that me loving the 80s, the 90s, the pop culture stuff, I was like kind of blown away that you told me you were picked for a show, and I don't know if the Airhead Nation's ever heard this, for Double Dare. You were picked. And were you at the Nickelodeon studios when that happened?
Well, bro, check this out. Dude, I'm talking, my daughter now is 22 years old, okay? Just turned 22. She might have been 4 when this happened. So we're talking like 18 years ago. This show has been off of TV forever. But yes, we were at the live taping when we were at Universal Studios. We're at the live taping of Double Dare, okay? And she's like raising my hand, she's like pushing my hand up. And then the guy's like, all right, you, sir, you seem like you really want to be up here. And dude, I get picked. We go up there. Yes, so I got picked to go up to do this, get slimed and all that good shit. Dude, we used to love watching that show when I was younger. And but it never happened because we lost power. Dude, they lost power, like a thunderstorm came through or whatever, and we lost power, so we never got to tape it. But yes, I did get picked thanks to my daughter.
Now, did they really slime you though?
Well, yes, we all got me and the other dads got up there, and we really did get slimed. So
did they give you extra clothes, or what was the gimmick there?
No. They put you in the Double Dare clothes.
Oh,
they give you the shirt.
So you actually got suited up, suited and booted, bro.
Bro, I was suited and booted and ready to go, bro. And like I said, we get this thing started, and then they lose damn power. So yeah, we never did go back to. Because I think then we got in that whole Walt Disney kick, and I think by the time we got back over to Universal, Double Dare was already gone. It was done.
Was Mark Summers there? Remember, he was like the head guy. I think he was like a producer with the show or something, but he was also the host.
Yes, he was the host. He was absolutely there. And like I said, the slime tastes good, bro. It was good. I don't know what the hell they put in it, but it got in my nose, in my ears. Obviously, I got in my mouth, bro, and it actually tasted pretty good. It wasn't that bad.
Dude, so Dizzy's working on a meme already, I heard.
Oh, I'm sure he is. And hopefully he's working on some other things for me. And dude,
speaking of that, real quick, if people want, I've noticed you've stepped your game up. I know you can't say Eastbound Get Down anymore this episode, but I can.
You can, not me.
I know certainly you're not doing all these graphics, and I've tried to tell people, if you're a show promoter and you want to add some animation, it's Don Dizzy Davis that is kind of pulling some of the puppet strings, I heard, behind the scenes.
Bro, Don Dizzy Davis is one of the biggest. He is the reason why a lot of this stuff is getting done. Him and Tony Moore are basically my two go-to guys to help me get this stuff done. And when it comes to graphics, flyers, and all that stuff, obviously the new artwork that just dropped now was Graphic Disorder, but Tony Moore with Tony Moore Graphics and Don Dizzy Davis with Dizzy Designs are the two guys that all these tickets to Paradise that I had just mailed out. And guys, just so another heads up on that, I only sent out the first 60 because I didn't prepare good enough for this. I've been handwriting this stuff, so it's taking me a little bit longer, but I promise you that you'll all get those. Everybody that's pre-registered, I only did the first 60. So, but I got a whole bunch more prepped and ready to go, and they'll go in the mail. They'll go back out in the mail as well. So more are on the way, and then I'll finish the rest of them here soon. But so there are more but all that stuff is because of Dizzy Don Davis. So with Dizzy Designs. So if you guys need anything, hit up Dizzy Designs, and he can get it done for you. I know I just talked to Robbie Williams today, and I know Dizzy is working on some stuff for him as well with Static Nationals.
Yeah, awesome. And Don Dizzy Davis, he's also on the Custom Scene podcast, but hit him up through social media or Facebook. I'm serious, guys. If you look at where social media is at, I heard someone make this statement recently. They said photos are dead, and I was like, dude, I hope they're not, because that's all I post. But seriously, when you think of reels, animating these photos and doing these type of things, I mean, it's got to be catchy. And if you really want to drive, some of you guys, listen, I understand it's hard to drive this stuff in social media with the algorithms and stuff, but adding some flair, I mean, I hate to say that, the word flair, but adding some flair to those posts will certainly help get a little bit of traction, right, in that engagement that you need. But Mike, you also got to give credit, dude, because let's be honest, Jason Bell, I hope he doesn't come down with an elbow deal. I know he's he's not maybe the innovator of a paper ticket, but I mean I have to think it's a tip of the cap to Jay Bell with Southeast Money Truck and Nats every April in Maggie Valley, North Carolina, because I kind of got the feel that you're trying to stir the excitement with the 2 tickets to paradise.
You are absolutely correct, and that was the whole purpose of doing this. Was Jay Bell started the golden ticket. And basically all I did was just try to get the ticket to paradise. So, and if you came to Eastbound last year, there was nothing but paradise about being there last year.
Oh yeah. And you did a real good job. You kind of held up there, right at the last second. You didn't say the second part, because we don't want you to get suspended this week, the rest of the episode, because it's kind of like the football right now. If you get a couple of those personal fouls, like, you're out the rest of the game. You know what I mean? I kind of need you the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah. No problem. I'm good for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I promise I won't say that show name. How about, can I at least say E? B G D?
Yeah, what? Yeah, I keep asking John what that is, and I think John's getting frustrated with me. He doesn't know, the inside deal. He
probably don't. Yeah.
He's getting mad, so I'm going to keep pounding that. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like...
Yeah, keep pounding it.
I'm kind of like the Ali G. Like, I'm going to keep hitting that one point, But...
Yeah, hit it, don't quit it.
So, speaking of our partners, I got to give a huge shout-out to Joey at Get Deck. Now, you guys know we talk about him a lot. Joey has helped a lot of show promoters. I know there's people stocking up all over the country, getting ready for 2023, but Joey has come through big. We had put in a massive order, and we are going to have, and I do feel bad, there's a couple people that had ordered the mini truck and skate decks. Those are getting ready to go out, so thanks for your patience. But Mike, part of Black Friday this year, our biggest sale ever, we're going to have about 20 to 25 skate decks, and they go quick. But the 25% off code that I gave out earlier, which is BF 2022, that code will work on the skate decks as well. A little bit higher price on the skate decks, but regardless of that, with the 25% off discount, that's gonna knock off a quarter of your price right there. That's only for those 2 days, so that's good. And Joey at Get Decked, if you hit him up on Instagram or Facebook, Joey Dilworth, he'll work you in. But I tell you, Mike, as busy as he's getting, people really do need to plan ahead. He has a great relationship with Graphic Disorder too, so whether you want to ask Graphic Disorder for that artwork or maybe give him the tip of the cap, he can go over and he can sometimes acquire that depending on the client, and he can get that squared away for you.
Yes, sir. So definitely be on the lookout.
Mike, the last couple things I wanted to share. Again, this one's a little bit uncanny, right? Not super regimented, just kind of keeping things loose. We did add some shows. If you go to ourlifestylepodcast.com, on the left side, the official digital show calendar, please hit it up. I know it's a little bit easier. I don't know why it doesn't always work on Android, but you can tap that link where it says tap here, and you can subscribe to that digital calendar. I have been slowly working through adding all of these shows from January to December next year, and sitting pretty. They our homie Craig Braid, who I also call DB Cooper, right? I think he's maybe involved in all that, but I'm not supposed to talk about it. We did add to the calendar next August. And I know August is busy because, you think about the Spark Show, one of our favorite shows. We've got to get up to that this year. But I know August 26th, they're sitting pretty to all of our kinfolk, which we've got a lot up in the Pacific Northwest. They're back in the catbird seat. Mike, they're coming back swinging, and it's looking like they're going to have another show. It's not looking like it. They are, and I'm excited for them. So I did add that show, and we'll talk more about it as we get closer, throughout the year. So anybody up in the West Coast, please add that to your calendar or subscribe to our digital show calendar. I think it's going to be fun, Mike.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, I think people are going to be thankful that we're going to slow this one down a little bit and just like roll in. It's Thanksgiving. It's Hanksgiving, rather. We're looking forward to it. Huge shout out to Hammered Weekend Wear, HAMMERD, weekendwear.com. They also have Black Friday deals that are going from Wednesday to, I think, Friday. And shout out to Graphics Mafia. If you need stickers for your brand, GRAPHIX Mafia. I know they do a lot of cool stuff. Maybe you've got stickers, but you want to make them decals. Hit up Buddy, hit up Ryan. They'll take care of you, right, Mike?
They always do, brother.
So next week, we'll have a new episode, Lord willing. I've been working on that. I think it'll be fun. And I think, Mike, that's it. Are you going to go hang out again with Keith Rock?
Bro, I'm heading over here and hanging out with my boy Keith Rock. Yes, sir.
Now, I know the list is, when you stop, right, it's tobacco, chewing, it's chew, it's vape juice, it's 32 ounces, liquor, alcohol. What else stuff you have to pick up before you get there? Because you guys consume all that in one night, don't you?
I was about to say, the one thing that I think you forgot was you want to try it one more time? You forgot one thing that I cannot believe that you forgot.
Scratchers.
Scratchers, yes, sir.
Dude, speaking of that, a guy just won $5 million up in Orlando area.
On a scratcher?
Yeah. Now, the other thing I meant to ask you, Ashley had sent me a thing in the mail about something about what do you call it? Gadation?
Are you talking about a graduation?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, okay.
Could I borrow like $15? Because we wanted to do something nice for her, and we thought,
oh, dude, how about hey, I can spare $14.99. How's that?
Yeah, if you could float that over to her, we'll, next year when we go to like Lone Star Throwdown, because we're going to gallivant to Conroe, like I could, maybe get you a meal or something, Because
you damn right.
Those McRib meals are expensive, dude. Everything's expensive. Those McRib meals, man. I'll get you a McRib,
bro. You promise? You promise? I can float her that. I can float her that $14.99, no problem.
In a 32-ounce water.
I don't know about a 32-ounce water though. You might be pushing it there.
Well, have fun tonight, Mike, and everyone. With Thanksgiving, in all seriousness, have fun with your friends and family. Do the damn thing, right, Mike?
Bro, definitely appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for doing what you do. You and your family have a happy Thanksgiving. We're going to enjoy our Friendsgiving, and we look forward to seeing everybody, at the next show.
Hails yeah, brother. Stay on the rise, and we'll hit you guys next week, Lord willing, with another episode. We got a cool guest lined up. We'll see how it goes, Mike.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, Airhead Nation, everybody, stay low and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy the interview. Peace. Hey, I'm so excited, like I've been talking about in this episode, to sit down with a friend of ours, Tim, but we also got Darrell Poe, so I want to welcome, it's Tim Williams, right, Tim?
Yeah, how y'all doing?
Good. I appreciate you taking the time to come on here with OLP.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I appreciate the invite.
You got it. And Darrell Poe, you're no stranger to OLP, man. You've been gallivanting all around the country. How you been, Mr. DP?
Man, I've been doing great. How you guys been?
Good. And how's your old lady, man? I know she's holding it down over there. Nikki, she doesn't play around, does she?
She don't play around, man. She's always there, man. She's been good. She's in there watching Hallmark right now, so I had to come in the bedroom and shut the door. We don't need to be hearing none of that in the background.
No doubt. Well, Tim, it is a pleasure. Darrell, the cool thing is we've had this opportunity in the past to have like these kind of, multiple person conversations, and it's awesome because Darrell was like, yo, man, always bringing stuff to the plate, and he goes, man, I think my friend Tim would be a great guest. And, Tim, why don't you just kind of just kick it off and just tell us a little bit of background about yourself, like where you grew up and who's Tim Williams?
Yeah. I grew up in Southwest Virginia. That's where I'm from, still where I live. A little bit further from home, but me and Darrell grew up fairly close to each other, not real far. But I'm from Giles County, Virginia, is where I'm originally from, which is just over the border from West Virginia. And, I grew up there. Now I live in Roanoke, Virginia, a little bit bigger city. Most people kind of more familiar with Roanoke, or heard Roanoke anyway. So that's actually where I live at now.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Darrell, the crazy thing is up in that area, which is different from where I live, like you can live in different states and be homies because sometimes it's only a few miles across the border, right?
Absolutely. Well, I think where Tim lived originally when I first met him was Narrows, Virginia, wasn't it, Tim? And yeah, that's it's 30 minutes from where I'm at, maybe 40, depending on the red lights through Princeton, by the way. But yeah, you're right. And I mean, you can. West Virginia and Virginia, of course, there's the state line. And I mean, so yeah, we're all pretty close within, like I say, within 30, 40 minutes. It ain't bad.
Now, Tim, what's your recollection of like how you guys met, like back in the day? Was it through trucks and stuff like that? I'll kind of get your take and then maybe Darrell's afterwards.
Yeah. Actually, that's exactly how it was. I had bought my Mazda. It was fairly stock when I got it. And, I met another guy from Peterstown, West Virginia, which was really close. His name was Mike Clendenin. And Mike's dad and Darrell's dad they trucked together, both truckers. And he says, "Man, you need to meet Darrell. He's got all these hydraulics on his truck, and it's really awesome. You need to really meet him." And so Mike kind of hooked us up. He was running this little, I don't know if he was running it. I can't really remember. I don't know. Maybe Darrell remembers. I don't know. But he had this little pool hall down in Peterstown. And so he got us both together, and that's actually when we met. It was back in 1996, maybe like summer-ish of 96.
Yeah, God, it's crazy how fast time flies, huh, Darrell?
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember Michael calling me and saying, "Man, I got this guy that wants to meet you. He really wants some hydraulics on his truck." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Where do I meet you guys at?" And he told me about the pool hall in Peterstown. So I drove down one night, knew Tim was going to be there, and I think we shot a couple games of pool even or something, but you come out and looked at the truck and you were like, "Man, I really want juice on it," So that's how the ball got rolling with our friendship is meeting at a pool hall one night through a mutual friend.
Yeah, and it's funny how when we're younger, we go play pool all the time. I grew up, my dad loved playing pool, and we actually had a pool table. That was a dream that he had from a kid, wanting to always play pool. But as we get older, we don't hit the pool halls as much, do we, Darrell?
No, I play it on my phone, though, because we're too old to go out, I guess. But, yeah, I play pool on my phone. But
the only person I know hitting the pool halls every night is Hammer and Hank from Hammered Weekend Wear, dude. He's like Minnesota Fats out there, dude, hustling everyone. But
hustling people, huh?
Yeah, so, and then, Darrell, your recollection of it, kind of the same probably, right, back in 96, you guys kind of getting together, like you said. And it's ironic because, like, down here in Florida, in the Tampa area, there weren't a lot of guys that even had hydraulics, let alone were doing the work. Sure, there were a few around here and there, but like you and I have talked in the past, Darrell, it's pretty cool that you guys were even doing that stuff back, in the heyday of, Ice Cube, Today Was a Good Day, and all of that awesomeness that was going on in the mid-'90s.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there was actually a guy that lives local to us. He's kind of out of the game now. He actually had his S10 done by Red's Hydraulics, I believe. And, and he had it a while. And, messing with the hydraulics, he had actually had some frame damage and things like that. And I fixed his frame and stuff for him. And he's really kind of the first one around here that had hydraulics. So it kind of set the bar for all of us. We were like, man, we got to have some juice, because airbags, of course, wasn't in, so I can remember looking in the magazine and I tell my mom, I've got to have that right there. And it was a Pro Hopper set. And so that's what I did. I got with some buddies and, we didn't even have a MIG welder then. We did everything with stick welding. And so I installed my hydraulics. And I can actually remember a buddy of mine wiring up a switch box for me because mine didn't come with a switch box. So we had actually got a wiring diagram somehow, and he was like a guru. So he wired everything. And then basically, in a nutshell, off I went, you know, with my own hydraulic setup on my S10. And then that kind of, like I said, that kind of leads now into when I met Timmy, you know.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and Tim, like when you first get that stuff done to your truck, you know, we all think back to the good old days, kind of the golden era of maybe our first ride, getting stuff done. You know, talk to us a little bit about that first truck that you had with some of the work that you ended up getting with Darrell about.
Yeah, when I first bought the truck, I think it just had the torsion bars cranked down and maybe a leaf spring taken out of it. I think that's all it was done to it. So after I met Darrell, I had already done a few other things trying to get it down a little lower. I think I took the torsion bars out, so it rode wonderful. But I done that, and then once me and him got together, I really wanted to get juice on it. So I think I bought, I'm not mistaken, I think it was Hijacker at that time.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was Hijacker Hydraulics is what I bought. And me and Darrell put them on down there where I was living behind my sister's house. I had an apartment behind my sister's house, and we put them on down there in the kind of the garage basement area of that. That was quite an experience of getting those hydraulics on there. But oh man, we were so excited to have juice on that thing. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's like the good old days. Like you think back, Darrell, like all the good memories you had, you know, hanging out with the homies or helping people out. It's kind of like we get older and we're still doing it. Like, especially I know you are, but it like our priorities change a little bit, but we're still kind of kids at heart, and we still want to do that stuff, right, Darrell?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same too, in my eyes, because you know, everybody always says, "Well, those are the good old days," and they were. Don't get me wrong; that's memories that we go with. But if you stay in this and you keep doing it, you know, we still have good old days now.
Yes.
You know, our priorities change a little bit, things like that. But, you know, there's still shows out there. There's still things to do. And, you know, so to me, they're all good times, you know. So, but the good old days, it was more innocent, I think. We were younger.
Yes.
We really had no major bills. We spent our money on truck parts, doing whatever. So yeah, I mean, those were, and Timmy can tell you, and going down there, I can always remember, you know, and I'm going to bring this part up real quick, but he can elaborate on it. We were wondering how we were going to cut the center of his bed out. And it was your brother-in-law, wasn't it, Tim?
It was our brother-in-law, yeah.
He said, man, I can put a metal cutting blade in my skill saw. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, I don't know about this. And sure enough, man, that dude cut the center of that bed out with a skill saw with a metal cutting blade in it.
Dude.
But it goes to show at what we could get done, though, with the least amount of tools that we had, you know?
Yeah, the minimalistic stuff that we had, right? I mean, we didn't even, like, I remember when my friend Matt Torgerson down here in Florida, in Orlando, he had body dropped 25, 30 some odd trucks. And I remember he was doing it with, like, basically, like, Sawzall blades. And he knew how many Sawzall blades he'd get through to cut the whole floor out and stuff, you know, and I didn't know how much those were back in the day, but I mean, yeah, you just go with what you got. So
absolutely.
Now, Tim, when you think back to those days, are those some of the memories that you're kind of getting back, you know, as far as working on that thing down there?
Yeah, I think touching on what Darrell said, I think one of the coolest things back at that time, you know, in mini trucking was the discovery of it, was just the discovery of everything, because we didn't have the internet really when we did, but it was very, you know, young. It was very young. So it was just, you was discovering all of it, you know, trying to figure it all out with minimal knowledge, honestly, and just trying to get by, because we had no clue, like when Darrell first started on it, we had no idea how we was going to put hydraulics on this Mazda. But, you know, it was kind of the discovery of that was part of the fun, and the enjoyment was, you know, learning about it and figuring it out.
Oh yeah. Now I know you maybe mentioned it, but give us the rundown on the truck. I think I know the year, make, and model, and all that stuff. But kind of give us the overall to paint the picture for the listeners.
Yeah, it was an '88 V2200 extended cab, automatic. I had my fields of manuals, and when I bought that truck, I really wanted it to be an automatic. So when I found one, and that's the truck I was looking for. As a matter of fact, I think the truck that got me wanting a truck was, I'm going to butcher his name. Tom McMurdo?
Oh, yeah. I always say it. Yeah, Tom McMurdo or something like that. Yeah, but I think he was one of them. Yep. From the cover.
It was a cover truck. It was a yellow standard cab Mazda, that was parked towards the beach. I'll never forget that. That was the truck that made me want to buy a truck. That was the one. And so I went on the search for a Mazda B2200. Standard cab, or extended was fine. Ended up buying that one, and just at a local, shop or whatever, a local car. It wasn't even really a car dealership. It was just one of the more small extra lots that had some used cars at it. And I found it there locally, right there in Giles County, and bought that one. And that was it.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Darrell and I were talking, and he had kind of refreshed my memory. That was the Bloody Butcher, and that was featured in January 2000, I think it was. It was that new kicking off the millennium. I think it was in that issue, because wasn't it featured?
Yep, that was it. It was the January 2000 issue of Mini Truckin'. Yeah. I had it shot when I was at the Mini Truckin' Nationals in '99, and when it was in Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, it was
is when I got it completed. But that was the only truck. That was the one.
Yeah, and that thing, like looking back at it, like that thing was super low too, man. I mean, there were a few of them out there low, but I mean, that thing, I mean, it was laid out, and with that topper and the cab plus and everything, it was just like, dude, that thing's like the mothership.
It was, and I have to actually give credit to Jody Hall with it was his idea to cut we did a 4-inch body drop on it, and it was his idea to do that. And I'm like, I don't know I want to cut these rockers, but that's what we ended up doing.
Yeah, that thing was low.
It was low. Yeah.
Now, there was a name that it kind of just chatting with you guys, it kind of popped in my head because I ran across his old feature when I kind of was getting in the game, and the guys that taught me a lot, Chris and Russ, and, getting the feel for, these different names and different shows they were going to, they always talked about they went to Nopi back in the day in Georgia, and there was a guy named Ryan Cochran, and he had, he had the Mazda Cab Plus, and then I think he redid it, and it was like that chameleon paint, and that one was always etched in their minds, and I think he was from Virginia area.
He was actually from West Virginia.
West Virginia, okay, my bad. Yep.
It was either Parkersburg, West Virginia, I'm thinking, or Clark. I'm almost saying, I'm thinking it was Parkersburg.
Yeah, it wasn't Clarksburg. That's where Tony was from. So
yeah, Tony Audia, yeah. Sorry,
oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, and you think back to, some of these trucks, but, this one, too, I mean, yours, you look back at the feature, the Bloody Butcher, again, January 2000, seeing it, like you said, with the 4-inch body drop, gave it that extra little above and beyond to some of these other trucks in terms of lowness. And I look at it and just say, damn, it was pretty awesome. What was the fate of that truck, Tim?
Well, after my photo shoot and got it featured, I ended up, I drove that thing every day. That was what I drove to work. I worked at a local supermarket in the meat department. Actually, why it was called the Bloody Butcher was because I worked in the meat department. And but I drove it every day. No heat, no air. I learned quickly how not fun that is.
Mini truck life.
Being a daily driven truck. But after that winter had came, and one of my bags was rubbing a brake line, and it actually popped on me, and the front end hit the ground right when I was pulling into my driveway, and tore up the front bumper, tore up the front two fenders. And so I thought, well, I got to replace the bag, set it there in the backyard at the house, because I didn't even have a garage where I was living. And so I just parked it in the backyard. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to have to work on it. And I already had thoughts, well, I'm going to pull the cab off, and then I'm going to repaint it. I wanted to go with a different color, so I was going to work on it. And it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. The more it sit there, the more I was like, I don't know. And my wife really wasn't super keen on it at that time, but dumping a bunch more money into it.
Yep.
So I ended up selling it. I ended up selling it to Smokey, which is one of Darrell's friends, Dennis Rowe, and he bought the truck after that. He lived up there in Princeton near Darrell and them, and he bought it after that, and then it kind of got handed down around the way after that. Yep. I think Darry Rowe owns it now, I think.
Really? Yeah, so it is still kind of around.
Yeah, it's actually it is. It's in Iowa, I think, is where Darry lives. And Jason, to kind of clarify, Dennis, who Timmy sold the truck to, is actually Dennis who was killed, and we put down for Dennis.
Right down for Dennis. Got it.
Yeah, same guy. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So his brother actually now, after the truck got traded off, or trade hands a few times, Darry actually has it actually has it in his possession, who is Dennis's brother.
Wow, and Darrell, rest in peace. You guys did so much for Dennis, and I love the Down for Dennis show and all of the goodness that you guys continued to pump into that. When you think about a truck that kind of 20, 25 years later, some of these trucks, even some of them like Madhu, our big homie, he's acquired some that really played a part early in his days down in local minis and stuff. He's of course up in the Tennessee area now. But some of these trucks, man, it blows my mind that, there was good enough work put in them that 20, 25 years later, they're still around. And although maybe someone doesn't have all the money to pump into it, it is still pretty cool, isn't it, Darrell?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, I hope, Derry finishes it out one day. I know it's changed a lot. I think it's got a different engine in it now. I know there's no shell, and the last I've seen it, it was, it was in a few pieces, but it was all there. It was black instead of red. So I do know it's definitely not seen, a junkyard or, a scrap yard or whatever. So I do know it's in someone's hands. So there's hope for it, the way I look at it.
Yeah.
If somebody's got a hold of one, there's always hope.
Yeah, and the trucks are getting kind of harder to even find, and it's always cool to see, just to even hear that, hey, yeah, there's a chance they're still out there, somebody's got it and whatnot. So very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Tim, let me ask you this. We want to give a huge shout out to Jody Hall. Like I said last week on the episode, Mini Truck Hall of Fame 2022. These guys were inducted in on the 31st of October for 2022. And there's a lot of good kinfolk. Now, I don't know Jody like you or others, including our friend LMC over at Lowest Common Denominator podcast, doing great things over there. But, Tim, my understanding was you kind of went underneath the wing there. Did you talk to us a little bit about like how that happened and maybe what your role was there or if what you learned?
Well, that's kind of a big story. When we went, of course, the Mini Truckin' Nationals was always a big deal every year. I went in 96, and then I think 96 was my first one. Then 97 Mini Truckin' Nationals. We already had hydraulics on my truck. I think, Darrell, you would see, notched it, got the hydraulics on it. It was laying pretty good. I think we even got it painted. I think I had a guy locally painted black. It was just jet black, just to shave a few things on. I think we saved the gas door and saved the tailgate handle and a few things. But anyway, that down there at that show in 97, that was the big thing, was seeing everybody's trucks body dropped.
Yep.
Jody's was there. I remember Kurt Ukasic's was there. All kinds of trucks. And it seemed like almost every one of them had that drop shop sticker. Just about every truck I saw. And so I'm literally chasing everybody around, like trying to find out what is this drop shop? Because I want this done to my truck.
Yeah, you're like, I need that.
Yeah. So somebody finally said this was Jody Hall, give me his number. I think it was Andy Surgenis who gave me that information. And so I ended up getting a hold of Jody to do my truck, to actually, do my body drop and all that stuff. So I called him several weeks after the Mini Truckin' Nationals in 97 and asked him, I want you to body drop my truck. So he's like, yeah, and told me the price and whatnot. And we ended up making a plan to bring it down there. I drove it down there, gutted the whole thing out. He said, don't bring nothing but the truck and a seat in it. He said, it'll help me out a ton. And I'm like, all right, I can do that.
Awesome.
I drove it all the way down to Pikeville, Kentucky, with just a seat in it.
Now, how far a drive was that for you? You paint that picture. How far was that?
It was about 3.5 hours.
Okay.
From where I'm at. So
I was going to say, Tim, this was back in the MapQuest days. You had to print all of your directions, of course.
Yeah.
We later found out that we could leave my town where I live and drive Route 460 basically straight into Pikeville, Kentucky, where Jody was. It would take about 2 hours. Tim went around another way, Route 52,
around the mountain,
and took him almost 4 hours. Yeah.
Something I would do.
Tim called me back. Yeah, he called me back. He was like, dude, that drive was terrible. And then we later, like I said, we later found out you could go a different way, and it only takes about 2 hours to get there.
Dude.
So, yeah, I had to butt in for a minute, guys.
Yeah, you're getting old, like when I always say this. Kids these days won't understand. But yeah. So Tim, so you end up driving the truck over there, and then kind of like some of these fabricators in that era, did you have to gut it there?
Well, no. I mean, Jody usually does all that, but he just says if you want to save a little bit of money, go ahead and gut everything out of it prior, and then that's less he'll have to do. So I'm like, okay, that works. So that's how I ended up taking the truck down there, and so I took it down there. Actually spent the night down there because it was a pretty long drive, and which it didn't need to be, but it was. So we spent the night down there, just hung out with him and his family because that's who it was. Clem and Bonnie lived there. In a like a little house that was right next to Jody's house, and of course the drop shop was just a 2-car garage. But I'll never forget pulling up to that place the first time, and there was literally just body drop trucks sitting around. I was just like, oh my gosh!
Yeah, and that was in the era where, like you said earlier, that you didn't see. I mean, they were growing, but in terms of popularity, but like to go there was like the mecca for that whole region.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was. I mean, you just didn't see it that much. And it was, the 97 Mean Trucking Nationals was the first time that I remember seeing a body drop truck. I don't think I saw one, even at 96. I can't remember that well, but it was getting way more popular in 97. And so, but we spent the weekend there actually with him and just hanging out and showing me all these trucks and talking about them. And we talked about mine, what we were going to do. And then so we ended up, by the time I left, he was going to put bags on it, body drop it, and do a 5-load conversion because he was saying that's the only thing you need to put a 5-load on this thing. And so we talked about that, and he was just going to get them filled and re-drilled. That was the plan. So anyway, I go back home after that, and a few weeks later, I pick up some probes, some 16-inch probes that had that 5-on-4.5 bolt pattern, and ended up going down to Jason's in North Carolina. I don't remember the name of that shop, Darrell. Maybe you remember Jason down there when he killed him.
A.E. Myers and Sons.
That's it, A.E. Myers and Sons. That's right.
Yeah,
that is right.
The guy's name is his dad was A.E. if I remember correctly, and then Jason was the son. And I guess we had bought around this town there was probably 10 total sets bought from him. So yeah, A.E. Myers and Son.
Yeah, that's it. So then I bought those wheels, and then he said you can just, you can bring them by here if you wanted to, or, bring them the next time you can come on an update. Well, of course, I mean, he had never done anything to the truck because it was, it'd been a couple of weeks, and he's backed up full of 3 and 4 deep. I mean, he told me it'd probably be months before, he'd get to it anyway. And so I went back down there, dropped the wheels off, stayed again with him, and we just got to hanging out more and just really, shooting it and talking. And he was talking about how bad he needed help because it was just him and his dad. Him and his dad, Flem. Flem was helping him as much as he could, but Jody was doing all of the actual work. And he probably had, I know Dave Caldwell's Blazer had just gotten there.
Yeah.
That old black Blazer that was in that picture. It had just gotten there for some more work. I remember Dave Zimmerman's Ranger, I think, maybe was there. And there was also an orange extended cab Toyota, like the 89, 90-ish body style.
Yep.
That was called the Heatwave in Mean Trucking Magazine, I think was the name of the truck. And it was there. There was a whole bunch of these trucks there, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just unbelievable. And just the long story short, the more we kept talking, and I'm like, dude, I'd be willing to come and help. Like, I'd be willing to move down here and learn and help you out here at the shop. And that's actually how it got started. And he was like, okay, I mean, that's kind of what happened. And then my now ex-wife, we moved down there kind of on a whim.
Really?
I mean, to be honest with you, on a real whim. And I think maybe August of that year, somewhere in that neighborhood, August or September of that year, we just kind of packed up things and moved down there. And I started working with Jody and them at the shop, just helping. And then it wasn't real long after I started, working down there that Flem had a mild heart attack, his dad.
Damn.
And he had to go get a pacemaker put in. And really, then it was just me and Jody. So after Flem got ill and he couldn't help, I had to kind of pick up the reins and start learning more. And that's when he started teaching me how to weld. He started teaching me how to do everything. And before I knew it, I was body dropping trucks too. So
yeah, that is
amazing time.
Awesome. And I'll tell you, becoming good friends with Kirk Sullivan. He used to live in Georgia. He's no regrets. He lives down. It's ironic to have another mini trucker kind of in the Land O'Lakes area. But he shared some photos with us not too long ago when he went up to the drop shop, and he, basically Caldwell's Blazer was there. Chris Schmidt had a Sonoma from the New York area, the NC guy. his truck's on a trailer, and I sent him a photo. He goes, man, how do you have this? And I go, wow, we got the connections. But like you said, I mean, so many trucks and many truckers. I mean, Chris Schmidt was, I think, from New York, right? So, I mean, you had guys coming from everywhere on the East Coast. And what was the vibe like then? Like, was it strenuous in the fact that, like, you felt like, there's stress of, like, building all these trucks? Or what was the overall vibe?
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. My ex-wife, she hated it because I would spend every second there. It didn't matter how long we were going to work.
I love it.
The plan was to work till 5 o'clock. We'd be there till 11 o'clock at night, just hammering away, listening to Hank Williams and Journey on the radio. I'll never forget it. Jody was a character. I mean, it was a heck of a time. It really was. It wasn't a job to me. That was just a super passion that I had. And being able to learn it and be involved with it like that was it was incredible. It was an incredible experience.
Is there any, I know this is kind of a trick question, is there any one maybe memorable truck that you did work on that you recall going, I don't know if it was Tony Audier's, like if if his, I forget if it was done there, but was there one that, like, when it came out in the magazine, it brought a smile and you're like, yeah, man, I helped work on that one? Or maybe one that's etched in your mind still that you remember now? Yeah,
actually, it was the very first one that I kind of did mostly on my own, with a lot of help still. But he was a local guy down there. His name was Jimmy. I think it was Jimmy Johnson. I'm mistaken. It was a silver 4-door Blazer, and it started life as a 4-wheel drive. He bought it as a 4-wheel drive, and we actually cut the front frame off, put a 2-wheel, a regular 2-wheel drive S10 front frame on it. Grafted that on, same in the rear, got a 2-wheel drive axle, and just kind of put that in there with a 4-link. It was a trick, but that was the first one that I actually did mostly, I'll say, in air quotes, on my own, and most of the body work too, which was something I was learning as well. Jody was teaching me the body work aspect of it all. I mean, everything, because he could do anything. He was an absolute master mechanic, just a genius. When it comes to that stuff, he was an absolute genius. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to add to that a minute. That was about the time that I think Tim had invited me down. He was like, man, you need to come down and visit. And I still have a few pictures of that. And I can actually remember showing up there. And, to us, it was like, you hear the words, the drop shop. You think you're going to show up to this, 100-foot long shop with all this stuff in it, and you show up and it's a 2-car garage, and it had a little room built on the side, I think, where he had his sheet metal brake and some other stuff. And that was about the time when I showed up. Jimmy's Blazer was actually, the best I can remember, maybe it was sitting on jack stands, and Tim was showing me around, and he was like, yeah, we're getting ready to cut the front frame off of that. I'm like, oh yeah, and we're putting 2-wheel drive stuff under it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm in awe.
Yeah, dude, I remember that 4-door Blazer, the silver one. And Darrell, you it must kind of blow in your mind as he's showing you around the shop, and he's talking about lopping off, from the firewall forward and stuff. And you're probably scratching your head going, okay, I mean, that was some kind of bigger, ambitions than maybe what you guys were doing back home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, when I first showed up down there, I see, Caldwell's Blazer sitting there. It was there to get 18s put on it, all that. And then Timmy showing me this. He was like, it was a 4-door, like you said, 4-wheel drive Blazer. And he was like, yeah, we're going to cut the front clip off, and, we're going to do this and that, and it'll be body dropped and all that. And I was just, I was mind blown. I mean, it was just crazy. And so... And even seeing back then, seeing 18-inch wheels on something was just, it was unheard of. It was massive, back in the day. So, but yeah, I'll let him tell you the more detailed part of what he did and how that came about. But man, it was amazing, seeing, I can't even remember, maybe 6 or 7 body drop trucks there, maybe. I know Jody's was there. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
For that time. Yeah, it was like the Mecca, on the East Coast, like we were talking. It's like there was probably the most body drops, arguably at that time. My good friend down here who body dropped my truck originally, Matt Torgerson, he was in the greater Orlando area. He had gotten up to 25, 30 body drops. But you start talking about, Jody and even Matt Torgerson and a few of these guys on the East Coast. I mean, there weren't that many that had really achieved that, that status in terms of that many body drops. But Tim, speaking of Caldwell's Blazer, anytime I ever post that black Blazer, dude, I mean, that thing is etched in our minds. A couple of my buddies, they went, old friends, they went to Nopi Nats back in the late 90s, and like that was there. But you probably remember seeing that one a couple times.
Oh yeah. When I guess when I first moved there, that Blazer was at the shop. He was, Jody was, if I'm not mistaken, it's a little tough to remember, but I know we pulled the frame off of it and he painted the frame, and there was just a few other details he was doing. I think he put the 18s on it. I think I had them Budnicks on it, and we had to do some work to get the 18s on it, and then painted the frame, which at that time was actually kind of new.
Yep.
I hadn't seen anybody personally that had a lot of that much detail work done to the frame. But I remember Jody pulling the frame on it and doing all that stuff, and that was right when I had moved down there.
Yeah,
so it was quite interesting to see that kind of evolve a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful truck though.
Yeah,
I'll never forget how good the paint was on that truck. The paint was flawless on that truck.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's one of those trucks, Darrell, like, we always talk about where these trucks end up. That's one that no one really has an answer to. It's like he was a successful guy or whatever, and, I heard he got into, higher end, maybe cars and stuff, but, some of those we'll never know. But, Tim, question for you, like, what are some of the things that you maybe took away from your time at the drop shop? Like, did you feel like when your time was up and you said, hey, I'm going to move back to kind of the area that you grew up in, did you feel like you took away some key skills from your time there?
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, from just learning everything from how to weld, to do any kind of body work, basically. I know on that first one I did, that was some of the first body work I'd done, roll pan and a French license plate tag, shaved handles. All that was new. Everything was new to me as far as doing the actual work myself. So I brought back everything as far as learning any kind of framework, and paint work, any kind of body work, just all that stuff, brought all that back. So it was nice to be able to come back and finish my own truck that we didn't have a whole lot of time. I didn't have a whole lot of time to work on it when I was down there, to be able to come back and get that finished and be able to help Darrell to kind of get him, what ended up being kick-started into something even more massive, really.
Oh, yeah. And Darrell, you think about how, like, today in high school, like, shop isn't really taught as far as I understand. But you think about some of the things Tim's talking about, like, I mean, who wouldn't want to be in their younger years being a mentor, having a mentor kind of teaching them, right? Like as an apprentice, right? And it sounds like the way he's describing stuff, like, he was able to learn and like, I can't do any of it. So if somebody was like, hey, I'm going to come over here and teach you, I need your help. Let's get these customers' trucks knocked out. Darrell, that sounds like a kind of a cool opportunity that Tim had.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had taken welding in school and actually, got a paper that tells me I'm a welder, by the way. But,
oh, wow.
I don't consider myself an actual welder, but, I like to think that I'm a fabricator,
Yeah.
I like to create things and come up with stuff. But as far as being a quote welder, I don't know if I classify as that, but, Timmy going down there and learning from one of the best ever to do this was just phenomenal. And he learned something that I think he can take with him, from here on out. And, maybe he's out of practice a little bit right now, but I think if he ever decided to build a truck, I think he could about jump right in, and he actually had, on the Outlaw, he actually had come up and we had crawfish and, as Murray would like to call them, the bitch ultras, but we had several Mick ultras that day. And, he was like, man, let's cut this bed, so the actual bed that's on the Outlaw, Timmy come up and helped us, and we got that thing body dropped in like a day, I mean, it went really smooth and stuff like that. So I feel sure that if he ever wanted to, pick right back up, I'm sure he could. And I know he'll tell you, I mean, he's learned a lot. He, like I said, he come back and show me what to do. And, like I said, I tell people, we literally body dropped my truck on 4 sheets of plywood, and my jack stands were cinder blocks and 2x4s. So, I was actually finishing the rear suspension with a tarp that was clamped to my frame with a kerosene heater underneath it.
Wow.
So then, so we actually started building the garage when Tim brought his truck back. And, the best of my memory, we were, we pulled the truck I was hurrying my dad, man. Tim and I had to get in there,
Oh, wow, dude, that's crazy. Yeah, but it's funny how you can have those, like, markers in time, right? Like, you're like, oh, yeah, I was building the shop and things like that, and you can remember back to that era. Do you think, I kind of get the vibe of the answer, but, Darrell, do you think, like, with Timmy coming back, or Tim, coming back to that region, that it sounds like he did help to kind of further mini trucking in that area because, he comes back, he helps you, then you... are there out helping other guys, maybe building the truck here or there and stuff, kind of taking things to the next level. If you think about that Jody Hall, I don't want to say legacy, I want to kind of say like the tree, right, of Jody Hall, that branches out over there to where you guys are at, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there was other guys in West Virginia and, of course, Virginia but in pretty much our circle, without Tim showing me how to body drop my truck, there would have been some others in this area that wouldn't have been body dropped, or they'd had to take them somewhere else or whatever. But, you had, guys like Brandon Perry, he's in central West Virginia, and we talked before about Tony Adia,
Yep.
And I'll let Tim talk more about him, but, those guys were doing things, and it was just, but in our general area, within a 100-mile radius, I guess, maybe not quite that much, Tim actually showed me what to do, and I was able to take that as far as body dropping and install an air ride, because
Yep.
like I said before, all we had done was hydraulics, and
exactly.
we really done the bare minimum to, to get those put on. We didn't have no real elaborate setups or nothing. We just, we wanted that thing to bounce and go to shows and,
yeah, that's what we saw on TV. We're like, boom, that's what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, I like I said, it's part of our mini trucking history, for that matter, of him working, for Jody, and then coming back and showing me what he did for me, and then helping me, and then it's just carried on, And so yeah, it is absolutely great,
Now, Tim,
I want to add a little bit of something to that.
Yeah, please.
I think Darrell, undermines himself, undervalues himself, because I went down there, learned a whole bunch, came back, finished my truck, helped Darrell. Darrell got knowledge, but I think what Darrell has done from then to now is really where all that kind of goes.
Yep.
Because of who he has inspired to this point.
I see
and
what you're
he
saying.
has done with his truck, and people, everywhere now that have seen the outlaw all over the country, world, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That has been inspired or learned from Darrell or learned the things that he's done. That's just evolved so much over the past 20 whatever years. I think that's the broader picture, of where it's come. At that time, Darrell's right. It was just our circle, but now the circle that Darrell's involved with the truck is much, much larger.
Yeah, and you have to think
that.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, it's cool to hear that, because I know, Darrell, you're not one to want to sit back and kind of take the compliments, because a lot of us, we have a hard time kind of hearing the good stuff, right? But I kind of want, Tim to reinforce this, that Tim, when you see the success that Darrell's had, with the Outlaw and just the run that he's been on, and now he's working on, his better half, Nikki's, right, her Isuzu, and doing the thing, it's got to bring a smile to your face to see, like, even if you sprinkled a little bit of the inspiration, back in that region, and then Darrell, man, 20-plus years he's been running hard, hasn't he?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's just that when we were in our youth and just learning, in the sport and just learning in the culture, and to where it blossomed to.
Yes.
Darrell got to really he just kept on with it and kept taking it further and taking it further, and to where he's at now. He does. I've been so happy for him this whole time, following the build and going up there, so I'm hanging out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we do live a little bit of a distance away now. But being able to see him really take off with it, do really, really well with that truck.
That's cool.
And it's been fantastic. It's been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and Darrell, tip of the cap.
Man,
I know we're talking about Tim, but tip of the cap to you, man.
Well, I appreciate that. I thank you guys, and it means a lot. I never set out to do this for trophies or whatever, but I mean, being able to take the truck to, the Tombstone for that matter was probably one of the major highlights for me. Dave McCarty helped me set that up when we were on our way to Vegas, and man, that was amazing. I wasn't even going to go, actually. I was like, man, that's 7 hours out of the way, and Nikki put her foot down and she said, "We're going." I went, "Yes, ma'am." So,
yeah. What would Doc Holliday say, right? He'd give you a thumbs up.
yeah, he would, but that was really awesome. So, but I greatly appreciate you guys, and that does mean a lot to me. I appreciate it.
I forget if we hit on this earlier, though, but when you kind of came back to that area, Tim, did you feel like, because I'm trying to remember timeline-wise, did you end up finishing your truck kind of back on your own, if you will, like away from the Pikeville area, and you guys must have had to do a lot of stuff on it, right?
Oh, yeah. When I came back, actually, Darrell helped me haul the truck back. I don't know if Darrell remembers that in that S10 with that trailer and hauling that truck back. That was an adventure. When I came back, the truck was basically just a frame, wheels, and the cab only. Everything else was off. Motor was out. We actually hauled the motor back in the back bed of his truck. But the whole truck that's all it was. It was just a bed and a cab. The cab was body dropped. I had gotten that done, got the rockers cut. The bed was body dropped. It wasn't on the truck. It wasn't mounted yet. None of the suspension was in it, so we just kind of welded some rods in there. I welded some, I don't remember if it was just tubing or whatever it was, just to hold the truck up so we could get it back. And then once it come back, it set up there at Darrell's. I actually took it to Darrell's because I didn't even have a garage when I came back home. So it set up there at Darrell's, which Darrell was that was when we were just getting the garage going, basically. I think they maybe had a slab when I first brought the truck back, if I'm not mistaken. And, I finished the entire rest of the truck, driving back and forth from Naris, Virginia, up to Blue Whale to work on that truck just about every day. Bagged it and finished just everything else in it. Got all the interior done. I did all the interior except the seats. I did have the seats wrapped from a guy down in the Rainbow Upholstery in Tazewell. He wrapped the seats, and I did all the interior. Done all the paint work, all the body work there in Darrell's shop after we got all the walls up. So it was, every bit of it was done right there. It was all the finished product was done right there.
Yeah, and if anybody's got the issue, look in Mini Truck in January, so it kicked off the new year, really the new, I guess you could say the new millennium. The 88 Mazda Cab Plus in there, right? The Bloody Butcher. It was featured January, I think, 2000 issue.
Yeah, it was in the 2000 issue. I got that shot right after we got the truck done. That was our whole goal, or that was my whole goal, our whole goal, kind of. I put Darrell in there with it. We, it was at his shop. At his garage where I was working all of that. But our goal was to get it done by that Mini Truckin' Nationals, by the 99 Mini Truckin' Nationals, which was the biggest event for us everywhere. Every year that was our
Super Bowl
was the Mini Truckin' Nationals. Yeah, it was a Super Bowl of Mini Truckin' for us. And that was the whole goal back then. There was not that much internet, so it's not like we were going on the internet and seeing trucks from everywhere. The main goal of us at that time not really was trophies. I wasn't really interested in trophies or placement at shows, was getting in Mini Truckin' Magazine.
Yep.
Because that was, to me, the ultimate goal at that time was Mini Truckin' Magazine.
Sure.
So once I got it done and we took it down to the Mini Truckin' Nationals in 99 is when I got it shot for Mini Truckin', which was just the highlight of my Mini Truckin' career.
Yeah.
It just was an amazing experience.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget it.
You guys definitely mentioned Tony Audia earlier. Like you said, a huge shout out to him. We did feature his Ford Ranger on our kind of Sega Master System Outrun, if you will, apparel. And, that one was etched in our minds. And to your point, there was another guy, I think Ryan Cochran, forget if I mentioned his name earlier, he had a Mazda. I remember the guys I used to run with, they went to Nopi in the late 90s, and they saw it, like when I think it was the one version, then it went to I think Chameleon Paint, and that was like the first truck they saw with fast bags, right? There's a throwback term for you.
Mm-hmm.
But, you think about all those epic trucks and stuff, and a lot of guys would say those late 90s or into the early 2000s was really like a golden era for a lot of people. So, it was really cool that, you got yours kind of immortalized, Tim, in mini trucking. But cool stuff. Let me ask you this real quick, as we kind of wind down a little bit. Tim, when you think about the legacy of Jody Hall, right? I know this episode, we're highlighting you, and we appreciate your time. But the time that you spent, not everybody got a chance. And Jody's a guy that is offline. He kind of lives old school. My understanding is, he stays at the property there, and we don't see Facebook and all that stuff, and he kind of does his own thing, right? And more power to him. But it's got to bring a smile to your face, Tim, when you hear that he gets immortalized in the Mini Truck Hall of Fame for 2022.
Oh, gosh, absolutely. When Darrell texted me about that, I watched the video. It just was, it did, because Jody was, he was a mastermind. He really was. He was such a good mechanic, such a good fabricator, and he never did any of it for any kind of glory at all. He really done it for the love of working on those trucks. I mean, that was Jody. He wasn't into it for anything else. And it was just awesome to finally see him get, that any kind of recognition, to be honest with you, of how big he was in that era for us, and for the history of mini trucking, because he really was. On the East Coast, he was just it.
Yeah.
And I'm working down there. We're working on trucks from Georgia and Florida all the way to New York or Pennsylvania, Ohio. I mean, we had people in there from everywhere, all over the East Coast, that was bringing trucks constantly and calling constantly, getting quotes, and it was just all over the East Coast. So his mark that he left in mini trucking was enormous.
Yeah, it was, and Darrell, and like you can, I'm sure you can kind of put the stamp of approval on that. That.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I was actually a nervous wreck when I called the first time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we covered this before or what, but I'd called Jody to see how much a body drop was, and which I've always tried to do stuff myself, but I called to get a price on a body drop, and man, I was nervous as heck, because
yeah.
you hear the name Jody Hall, and you're like, well, how's this guy gonna react to me calling, And he was actually very, very pleasant on the phone and all that, and it just I can remember seeing them, all their trucks, the NT guys over, I think it was called the Parkview Motel, maybe in Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, Parkview.
Yeah, and this little rinky-dink hotel, I think they got it every year, and just seeing all these trucks, his and all these other, body drop trucks sitting in the grass and on the pavement right there, and it's amazing at what Jody's done.
Yeah, and we think back, we all kind of came up in that good era. You think about now, you go to a show and you see all these brand new trucks laid out and stuff, and that's cool. But the era that we were in, it was like to have a body drop was like the rung above. It was that next level, and seeing all of them in one place was the mind blowing stuff, which I think is cool. And again, I'm super excited. The only time I ever talked to him on the phone years ago, Sport Truck, when that was a big thing. He had a set, I think, billet Psychos for sale, and I had called up there to get a price on them, and I was calling Pikeville, Kentucky. I'm thinking, man, I don't even know where this is at, But again, to your point, he was super cool. But it was ironic because we were going to run this audio last week, and we just had Brian Gendro on, and you think about Brian Gendro with the Chop Shop, the West Coast, kind of innovating with bags and getting into body drops. And maybe even Jody was doing body drops possibly before him, but you think the Chop Shop on the West Coast and then the Drop Shop on the East Coast, both Gendro and Jody, the two J's, they have left their mark, and it's really cool that we can kind of give them their flowers, right? It is what they say in hip hop, to these guys, why they're still here, and let them know that, hey, we appreciate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen Jody's truck the first time. I think it was only body drop like 2.5 inches. at a show here in West Virginia. It was called Coalfield Nationals. And
oh, wow.
I think they only had the show 1 year. And if I remember correctly, Jody actually had juice on the truck, if I'm not mistaken. But I will look back and see. I may have a picture of that. But we had actually showed there, and I seen his truck for the first time at that show, and they had some like 15-inch. I don't even remember what wheels were on it, but just seeing that for the first time being body dropped, it was like, holy crap! Why is that thing so low? I don't think I even understood.
You're like, yeah.
I don't even think I understood. Yeah, I don't even think we knew what a body drop was.
Yeah.
So
we're like, let's just lower. It's like Beavis and Butthead because that's big now. I started going back watching the Beavis and Buttheads. They got new ones, and they're like, yeah. Let's score. I'm thinking, body drop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, go back
I walked
if you want.
Around the truck several times. Yeah,
yeah, that's cool. Go back if you want to laugh and watch the new Beavis and Butthead movie or the show, man. Like I'm having flashbacks to the '90s. It's kind of good. But Tim, we really appreciate you sitting down. We know our friend LMC over at Lowest Common Denominator Podcast. He has a relationship, as some other guys do, with Jody, and he was able to go and talk to him after the Hall of Fame announcement. I know Jody wasn't able to make it out, but we probably won't ever be able to get Jody necessarily on this podcast, but to be able to have someone like yourself, Tim, that knew him, still knows him, worked there several years, for you to share some of the stories, man, dude, we can't thank you enough.
No, you're welcome. It was a absolutely fantastic time of my life. All of that was, being so into it at that time. I mean, it was just all, Darrell can attest to that. It's all we just lived and breathed all the time, constantly. I mean, it was all it was, especially at that age. That's literally all our life was.
Yeah.
And to be able to be there at that time when all this was occurring in mini trucking, with the changes in, with technology, because we were going away from hydraulics to bags, and then the body drops were becoming a thing. And as all that was evolving, to be a part of that at that time, it was absolutely special time in my life.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said, we can't thank you enough. And Darrell, just kind of the icing on the cake, dude, for you to be able to work back with us and link us up with Tim and be able to do this audio, it took us a couple sit downs, and we certainly appreciate, both of you and Darrell, like the run that you've been on. There's a lot of good guys in that region. You were doing Down for Dennis, and you did that for a long stint and helping that family, and all of the positivity that you guys have done. Especially yourself, and now working with, doing Nikki's build. I mean, dude, we just love seeing you out there at shows, Darrell.
Man, I appreciate that. And it's been a wild ride for sure. Kenny Franklin, a buddy of mine, would always say, he always tells me, he goes, man, I knew the truck would do good, whatever. And I never dreamed of winning a best of show anywhere, and just it rattled off, I think, 14 straight best of show mini trucks, and that's just cool. But getting to meet people like yourself and Mike and Sean Rose and a lot of people that I've met through, taking the truck to these shows is what's meant the most, and to try to keep getting better every day. I have a bead roller now. I'm doing some bead rolling on Nikki's truck, things like that. Learning that is just, and being able to turn to people like Sean or whatever to learn more and to get better is really awesome. And I mean, I would have never dreamed, I'd have never dreamed I'd own a Jamie Jordan bead roller for that matter, and it just goes to show at how things have, grown and these builds these days are just
mind blowing,
not just mine, but I mean, you take, like what Eddie Gordy and some of these other guys are doing, it's just insane. And you're taking, $7,500 mini trucks, bone stock, and turning them into like
hot rods,
almost like street rods,
Yep.
Yeah. And it's just, and people will say, as far as people will tell me, hey, why don't you build a hot rod next or whatever, it honestly just ain't me. And I know it sounds crazy, and people that may listen to this may say, you don't like a 57 Chevy? Well, no, it ain't that I don't like a 57 Chevy.
Right.
It's just, it's not me. Yeah, I'm not from that generation. You know, I'd rather see a bagged and body drop mini truck. You know, people would say, "Hey, what about that Lamborghini over there?" To me, nah, I'm good. You know,
right.
I want a bagged and body drop mini truck, and so I don't know, man, but I do appreciate it, and like I said, it's been a wild ride, and it's really cool to look back at where Tim and I got started, and you know, all my friends around us, and where we went with this. You know, I know all over the country and now all over the world, people are growing and they have their own mini truck history. You know, so I will always cherish ours for sure, and it means a lot.
Yep.
It means a lot to me to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys sharing those stories. And if we have any goal, we need to talk Tony Audia. I think is how you say his name, right? You said we need to talk him into getting his Ranger back out there, because that one's etched in all of our minds. And certainly down here in Florida, it's in mine.
Tony is awesome. I met Tony when I was working at the drop shop. That's how I even met Tony way back in the day. When I was working there, he used to call the shop a lot, you know, talking to Jody, getting him, you know, just shooting it, just getting information, getting stuff. And I used to talk to him a ton. So I met him there while I was working, just on the phone, and we talked a lot and got to be big friends. And I was a groomsman in his wedding eventually, so we become really close.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he's the one that taught me all about paint.
That's cool.
He taught me a lot about painting and really about paint. He was really good with that. He's really good with everything. Tony was amazing too. On his own, up in that garage up in Clarksburg, West Virginia, pounding away on that truck, building one of the most awesome Rangers on the planet
ever. Yeah, the stereo, the paint, low. Yeah, talk about tuck lugs. He's like tucking wheels, man.
That's it. That is it.
Yeah,
Tony was awesome. Tony was awesome.
Yeah, if he was playing poker, he'd be like, "I'll raise you, though. I'm going to take the whole house, man. I'm taking everything here." You're like, "Damn, okay." But no, that's cool. But yeah, it kind of has come full circle, and it's good. You know, there's people that inspire other people, whether it's hip hop, whether it's just music in general. In our case, mini trucks, and Ronnie over at Truck Talk Media, he'll use the word lineage a lot. You know, if I look at the web or the tree of mini trucking, a lot of it definitely comes through, of course, Jody Hall. So Tim, thank you so much. Darrell, really appreciated it. And I think we wrap it up at here. I think we're good, man. You know, we've talked about a lot. Anything else you guys have to share?
No, I think I'm pretty good. I just appreciate you all inviting me on. It's been nice going down memory lane. Maybe one day, if I can, you know, have some more free time. I don't have much, but I'd love to build another truck one day. But I just appreciate y'all getting me on here to talk a little bit about mini truck. I love the history. I love our stories. You know, I'm very proud of what we did back in that time and where Darrell has continued to evolve it to now. So it's an important part of my past.
Yeah, 100%.
And we greatly appreciate you having us on, Jason. It's been awesome.
No problem. Thanks for your patience and stuff. And obviously, you know, you guys know you work a long day, and I know you guys have too. And we sit down and talk to trucks, but it was cool to be able to reminisce a little bit with you guys.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
We'll stay on the rise, and we'll see you at a show, hopefully, Tim, in the near future. And take care of your fam, and you guys have a great next 4, 5, 6 weeks of 2022 with the holidays, and then we'll talk to you guys here soon.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks, brother. We'll see you.